Sahanam Bhavatu Sahanam Punaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Together we chant Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, verses 11 to 20.
अथैतदप्यशक्तोऽसि कर्तुं मद्योगमाश्रितः सर्वकर्मफलत्यागं ततः कुरु यतात्मवान् श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम् अद्वेष्टा सर्वभूतानां मैत्रः करुण एव च निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः समदुःखसुखक्षमी सन्तुष्टः सततं योगी यतात्मा दृढनिश्चयः मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यस्मान्नो द्विजते लोकः लोकान्नो द्विजते च यः हर्षामर्षभयोद्वेगैः मुक्तो यः स च मे प्रियः अनपेक्षः शुचिर्दक्षः उदासीनो गतव्यथः सर्वारम्भपरित्यागी यो मद्भक्तः स मे प्रियः यो न हृष्यति न द्वेष्टि न शोचति न काङ्क्षति शुभाशुभपरित्यागी भक्तिमान्यः स मे प्रियः समशत्रौ च मित्रे च तथा मानापमानयोः शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु समः सङ्गविवर्जितः तुल्यनिन्दास्तुतिर्मौनी सन्तुष्टो येन केनचित् अनिकेतस्थिरमतिः भक्तिमान् मे प्रियो नरः ये तु धर्म्यामृतमिदम् यथोक्तं पर्युपासते श्रद्दधाना मत्परमाः भक्तास्तेतीव मे प्रियाः
Sakshi, you're muted.
Ma'am, we cannot hear you.
Sorry, is this fine now?
Yes, ma'am. Better.
Okay, maybe at max. So we were on the 19th verse, and we did Tulya Ninda Stuti. Tulya, same in Ninda and Stuti. When people praise you, don't praise you, censure you, say bad stuff to you, You are the same. Why are you the same? Because you know who you are and you know what you are doing. If you have these two things in this world, it really doesn't matter what anyone has to say. Suppose a child goes to Einstein and says, I don't agree with your E is equal to mc squared. Is Einstein going to be affected? He knows that whether the child agrees with it or disagrees with it, the value of that is exactly the same. We are very concerned with what people tell us because we have not thought it through ourselves. The moment we think it through ourselves, we're very little concern of what anyone else has to say about this. Especially if it's about my own life. Because I have all the data about my life, right? Who else has this data? And then I have decided to take a particular action with having thought about it with my best judgment. Now, who's going to be able to tell me whether I did right or wrong? Who is this Daniel come to judgment? Yes, that doesn't mean that we are obdurate and we don't listen to other people. That's not what it means. It means you're able to take in inputs. You're not affected by it. In fact, you're very open to taking inputs because you know what's going on. People are not confusing you by what they say. You easily can figure out, okay, so this point that they have said is very useful in this situation. It's clear to you instantly because you know the picture. So the bhakta is like that. He knows his picture. He knows very clearly in life what he is doing. Now, you have any other view on the matter, it's not affecting him. Mauni. Mauni means silent. Silent means when you understood the hollowness of something, why would you react to it? It is just like an actor on the stage. Suppose an actor is there. Okay, there's a whole play on stage going. It's a 2-hour play. At the end of the play, for 30 seconds, one of the extras has to come and be the king, and then he has to knight the hero. The hero has done everything for the last 2 hours. Last 30 seconds night, the king has to come with his scepter and all and knight the hero. Okay? The hero is going to get something from the king. 30 seconds role he has, and he doesn't even have to say anything. This chap who is going to play that king, be very excited, I got a king's role. He will be fighting with the director and say, "Mujhe ek line to do bolne ke liye, something I should be allowed to speak." He's not excited because he understands the hollowness of that kinghood. And so are we all, actors on the stage of life. We have our roles to play. We have to do what we have to do. But it's not of any significance. No significance whatsoever. Nothing on anything that we do has any significance towards the truth, towards happiness. What is it significant for? Where is its worth? Where is its value? And yet we do it because we're here. We have to play a part. We play that part. And we play that part to the very best of our ability. Because what matters is that we play our part properly. That's what matters. What is the role you have? You have a king, you are a prince, you are a shoemaker. All this is immaterial. Whether as a king you conquered more territories or you lost territories, or whether you had children or didn't have children, whether you did what you need to do, whether you were a good parent, whether you were a good uncle, an aunt, whatever it is, you do what you needed to do. That is significant. Not the role you play. Not the result of the role you play. None of it is important. So that's what silent means. silent towards whatever happens in the world. Doesn't matter. Arun Sehgal. In Bhakti Yoga is performing actions for my sake, verse 10, the grossest level of bhakti. In Karma Yoga is acting for the self the highest level of karma. If so, is the grossest level of bhakti equal to the highest level of karma? It's not, I don't know where you heard this from, but performing actions for my sake in Bhakti Yoga cannot be the grossest unless you use a very particular interpretation where you're talking about physical action. But usually in philosophy, whenever we use the word action, we are referring to the whole thing, right? Because action has desire, has thought, has vasana. So when we use the word philosophically action, it means the entire gamut. But if you're taking the word action to mean a physical action, then what you're saying may hold true. But
Janaki, this was verse 10, which said that if you are incapable of even abhyasa, regard my action as supreme, even by performing actions for my sake, you shall attain perfection. This is the verse 10. So it's like in that order, this is the fourth level or the grossest level. If you can't do this, you can't do this, at least do this. Starting from meditation downwards. So that is the context. So here one gets an impression that Krishna is saying that acting for me is kind of the lowest level if you can't do anything else. So that was the context I had in mind.
No, that is not the why. Then definitely you can't use it in the sense of action. So wait, we have 4 steps. Verse 8 is meditate. Verse 9 is act like an ambassador, right?
Yeah.
No, sorry, not that. Go back and try. Do abhyasa yoga. Try. Try means do your karma bhakti yoga and you do. And then verse 10 says, if you can't do anything, if you're not able to do meditation, then you do act for my sake. Means act as an ambassador of the Lord. This is what a sannyasi does. Then the lowest comes. If you're able to do you're not able to do even that, then you renounce fruits of all actions, which is what a karma yogi will do. So verse 10 refers to the state of sannyas, where you're able to act for his sake and his sake alone. So in this, it uses action as the whole thing. Because every action, every emotion, every thought is only for the sake of the Lord. You have no other. Why are you attending class? For the Lord. Why are you taking care of your wife? For the Lord. Why do you go to work? For the Lord. Everything is for the Lord. Everything is an act of self-purification to reach the Lord. So everything is, I see the Lord in Reena, I see the Lord in Abhishek, and I take care of them because they are the Lord. So verse 10 is behaving like an ambassador of the Lord. Like everything is only in his name. Everything is only for his sake. There is no identity apart from it. Like an ambassador of a country. He has no identity. If he goes to US, he has no identity other than India. Everything he does over there represents India. He can't go to a restaurant of his choice also. Because then it will say, India is, suppose he goes to an Ethiopian restaurant in the US. Then somebody will catch hold of him, some paparazzi, and say India is having unusual relationships with Ethiopia. But can't I eat food wherever I want? No. Everything reflects on India. So suppose now an Indian ambassador in the US has a very close friend who is a Canadian diplomat in the US. Can he speak to that person? He simply can't. You cannot be seen in public with that person because it will everybody will talk about India-Canada relationship. So like that, we are a representative of that Lord. Everything about us speaks Him, nothing else. Every action, every emotion, every thought. So
Therefore, it is not, so one shouldn't interpret as a grosser level. That's where the confusion. You can't say it's at a gross level, right?
No, not if you, especially not. You can do it generally. And then you're taking action to mean a specific action, but definitely not in verse 10, because verse 10 is sannyas. It's the state of a sannyasi.
Okay.
In karma, acting for the self is the highest level of karma. It's the same thing. Both are doing it only for the sake of the higher. All actions are for the self in both cases. One calls it for the Lord, and one will say for universal welfare, or he uses that kind of language.
All right.
So silent is, we are silent to the happenings of the world because we understand their hollowness. It has struck you that regardless of what happens, you are going to be in the same position. Suppose you get a PhD. What will happen? Same position. Suppose you get a Nobel Prize. What will happen? Still same position. If you've understood that, is there any difference between a person who has got a PhD and got a Nobel Prize? What is the difference? Do they both not want something further? Do they not both experience the same sense of lack or the same sense of lacuna? Do they not both feel that if only that comes, then I will feel fine? There is nothing we can obtain in the world which will take away that feeling. There is absolutely nothing. No. If I marry my beloved, I will not ask for anything more. Really? Try it. The moment you marry your beloved, what will happen? Change? No, that is true. But what will happen? You'll immediately need a house to live in.
Your expectations go higher.
Expectations go higher. But firstly, you need a house to live in where you are getting married. You need some place to live. Then having got a place to live, you will have to have some curtains in the house. How can you live in a house without curtains? So you need curtains, you need sofa, you need Wi-Fi. We feel that only this. But actually, it's never only this. In every desire that we have had, we have wanted the infinite. So anything, what you really want is the infinite. Whatever you get is going to be hollow. You can get anything in this world. It's hollow because it will not make you feel fulfilled. So when you've got that, you're actually quite okay with the happenings one way or the other. It's not that you're not working hard towards your goals. It is not that you're not doing whatever needs to be done. But none of it is done in the pursuit of happiness. If you want happiness, then this is not the way to do it. And someday this has to click. There's no point listening to lectures on this over and over again. It has to click in my own mind that it's not going to work like this. It's absolutely not going to work like this. I will always feel that. With a mother, suppose a child has gone to the US to study. So she's heartbroken. Oh, mera bacha, wo yahan nahi hai. So she's so unhappy her child has gone to the US to study. And Bapre, if that child does come to India to meet her, or she gets an opportunity to go there, to phule nahi samay. So thrilled and delighted. Okay. Let us say, for argument's sake, that she goes there and lives with her son, or the son comes back and lives with her. Do you think she'll be a happy person? What will she start saying? Well, one option is, of course, she may fight with the son. That is a given option because these mothers and children keep fighting. But even if they don't fight, what will she start saying to her son who has come back from the US?
Now get married.
Now get married. See, Bharat knows the answer to that question. He has lived through it. So he knows exactly what you are told. You finished your education, then people will get on your case. Get married, get married, get married. Suppose you say, Baba, mujhe baksh do, and you get married. That you get anyone you want and I'll marry that person. Okay? And you marry that person. You're not tough like Bharat and any woman. No, I can't marry this one. Poor family has been on his case. And every time they show him somebody, says, no, this is no good. I don't know who he's waiting for. Mirabai he's waiting for. I don't know who he's waiting for. So that son was not like Bharat. That son was a very nice son. And he said, Mommy, you get me any woman of your choice, I'll marry her. And he had married. Now is this woman happy? She has got her son married to the woman of her choice. She didn't even ask her son. And he has to live with that woman now for the rest of his life. And put up with whatever. Oh, waiting for Desdemona. Okay. So then, now this woman has got her son married to the woman of her choice. Is she happy now? Now what?
Grandchild.
Now I have a child. Okay, chalo, yaar, you want a child, chalo, we'll have a child. In 9 months, child. Immediate. You went to Vaishno Devi and prayed in 9 months, straight away a child. Very fantastic. Now is this woman happy? Like, when is she going to become happy? There's always something. Now let us say the child gets into the best, crazy. I don't know how it is in the rest of the country. In Mumbai, as far as I can see, the parents are going absolutely mad about which what is it, preschool they go to, which school they go to. I mean, and very, very strong views on which school, this school or nothing. It's like that. And they will phone the chief minister to say, put my child in this school. I mean, it's really, I don't know how it is elsewhere, but here it's a matter of, I don't know, life and death if your child doesn't go into that very school which you have determined. Okay, chalo, yaar, he got admission, you ate up the chief minister's head, and the chief minister's office called the principal and got the admission. Are you happy now? No, at no stage. Every stage there's something else. And the clubs, you have to be a member of this club. Are you happy now? No, now there's something else. So, moral of the story is that if you are a sensible person who can see just a little beyond, what do you understand?
That now these things can give us happiness. It's all.
Yeah. So then will I be so carried away about whether this particular thing happens? Will I be carried away? Suppose you say that, I don't know, whatever. Suppose now Deep Raj is doing his PhD. Now, how excited will he be? Will depend on, can he see one step forward? To be able to do your PhD perfectly and not care whether you become a PhD or not. That is the Vedanta. To be a perfect parent and not care about what your child turns out to be. But you're a perfect parent. That's Vedanta. Everything that you have to do, you have done perfect. Now, don't subvert this. Okay, say, no, I did perfectly, but everything went wrong. No, not like that. You can't say that. You use the results merely to judge whether you're doing it right or wrong. Your happiness is not involved in this. Just silent to the happenings of the world. The other way to look at it is silence refers to speech, obviously. And speech refers to the organs of actions. So silent towards the happenings of the world means all our actions are derived from this understanding. They're not derived from any kind of excitement about it. Actions that need to be done are done. Full stop. No excitement. One way or the other. Content with anything. Content with anything. We get this great quality of being content with anything that happens when we
What needs to be done?
Do what needs to be done. Because contentment is a direct result of doing your obligatory duties. There is no contentment greater than knowing that you have done every single thing you could have done. There is no greater contentment. And that contentment is so great that it matters not whether you win or you lose. Think of all the great failures of history. Shaheed Bhagat Singh, Rana Sanga, who else? Rani Lakshmi Bai. These are all great failures, right? They never achieved whatever they set out to do. And yet they were content people. And if we don't get something, we are all worked up. These people died in the attempt to do whatever they were doing and failed at it. And they were content. Socrates. Great failures. All of the great, it's not necessary that you're great, you'll be a successful person, right? Look at all these people. Totally content. And you're worshipping them. You're naming streets after them, but not understanding what is it all standing for. All great failures and all greatly respected. And remembered and content. Isn't that amazing? So how do you reach contentment? You reach contentment, number one, by doing what you ought to do. You reach contentment, number two, by being grateful for what you have. In fact, these two things are very related to each other. You do what you need to do because you're so grateful for what you have. Otherwise, you do what you need to do, but to get something. But the moment you recognize that I've got everything, all my needs are taken care of. The Lord has been kind to me. Now what shall I do? Now let me just express my gratitude and service. That's all there is to do. Just serve, serve, serve. Do what has to be done. Not because, there is some bugbear on my head, I have to do this, I have to do this. You don't have to do anything. If you leave, if any one of us dies this very second and does nothing after this, the world will continue just as well. For all we know, it may continue better. So, our work, non-work doesn't count. Then why are we working? Only to express this great gratitude and this great, you're expressing your fulfillment through your work. You're saying that I've got so much. I'm so blessed. Do you realize how blessed we are? Do you realize even now, certain people cannot even attend the class Because there is a war going on. Do you realize that many of our Lebanese friends are not here? So, it's a very strange thing, isn't it? It's a very, very strange thing. That we live in a stable economy itself is a very great thing. 2 wars are on in the world at this moment as we talk. People are lying in their beds and being shot dead or bombed dead. And we are very, very comfortable. Are we not to be grateful? Are we not to do whatever we can? How can we not do whatever we can? So when you realize that things could have been so much worse and they are not, like all of us in this classroom are in the top 5%. Mahesh and I were speaking about this just yesterday, day before Sunday. He's saying, something we were talking about HNI. I said, what HNIs you're talking? You and I are HNIs. All of us are HNIs. Everybody in this class is an HNI. What HNI? All of us in this class are in the top 5% of the people on this planet. And what have we really done to deserve it? How come? We have never had a problem about where our next meal is coming from. We have never had a problem of not having sufficient clothes to wear, air to breathe. Nothing, no? So, doing your duty and gratitude are 2 sides of the coin. The moment you understand gratitude, you do your duty. The moment you do your duty, and if you do it properly, you understand gratitude. So there are 2 sides of a coin. If you go on thinking what you don't have, then this thought can be with you under all circumstances. And if you go on thinking of what you do have, then this thought can also be with you under all circumstances. Let us say you're very miserable because something really bad happened to you. And you're weeping and you're sobbing and you're crying. And you're heartbroken. You realize how much you're being taken care of. The tear glands are working. Tears are coming out, no, guys. When you gasp, there is air for those gasps. There are people who die of suffocation. They're gasping for breath, but there isn't any. No air to take in. But now I'm gasping, and there is air for me to take. There's a story. I don't know if you heard this story. It used to do the rounds earlier, which was there was a man who had a very intimate relationship with God. And he was always, he always thought of God as his friend, and they used to have conversation. So once he saw footsteps, just in the sand, he was seeing footsteps. And he began to realize that these footsteps in the sand represent his life. I mean, I'm giving you the short version. It represents his life. And in the most difficult periods of his life, okay, so throughout his life, there have been 2 sets of footsteps, his and God's, in the sand. But in the most difficult periods of his life, there was only one. But he could remember, okay, that period, so many terrible things happened in that. Wherever he saw the most difficult periods of his life, unbearably difficult periods of his life, there were not 2 sets of footsteps, but only one. So in his conversation with God, he asks him, he says, I look back and I'm seeing these steps. And they're all, wherever I had a very, very bad, are you with me? There were 2 footsteps, 4 feet walking. And then in all the difficult periods, there were only 2. I mean, only one person was born. Got it? So he's asking God, how is it that in the most difficult periods of my time, you're not there? Why did you ditch me at those times? To which the Lord replies and says, the one pair of footsteps which you are seeing are mine. You're not seeing your own because I was carrying you. In the most difficult times of our lives, the Lord is still carrying us. We can't walk, but the Lord is carrying us. So to think that at every moment there is something for us to be grateful for. Something is being taken care of, but I'm not taking care. So when we understand this, what will we do? But just spend our life in service. Just spend our life in service. There is nothing useful over here other than spending our life in service. What else is there to do? If we spend our life in service, we will become happy people. We will create happy people around us. We will make the world a better place. What's to lose? And yet somehow we won't. We have this thought in our head. If I look after everybody, who will look after me? If I don't earn, who will give me an income? We have these kind of questions in our head. And most people will say they are very valid questions. Even I will say they are very, very valid questions. But at some time, you have to go beyond this question and beyond this answer. There is more to life. At what stage will you say, I have enough? I can now live in service. At what stage would you say? How much money do you need for you to say that? You know why this dichotomy occurs? Because we have a feeling that if I get paid for something, I'm not doing service. This is incorrect. You will naturally get paid for whatever you do. Even if you don't want it, they will give it to you. Obviously, why are you worried about that? Do something useful. You will get the just remuneration for it. This is always difficult for people to understand. So see the other side. There's so many movies and serials and all that has come up nowadays. I don't know if you all have seen. Have you seen how the pharma industry is doing things, or at least as reported by the film industry, that the doctors are given all sorts of things so that they prescribe drugs which are more expensive or things like that. Please, I am not making a comment on the pharma industry. Do not get up and start telling me that this data is wrong. I'm not talking about the pharma industry. This is what people are saying. I'm merely repeating it for my own purposes, which is to give you the concept of service. So you give the salesperson very high commissions, going into millions. You give the doctors, you hire all these very pretty girls and give them very high commission. You give gifts of all sorts of to the doctors, and then these drugs get prescribed. Pharma company makes a lot of money. Salespeople make a lot of money. Doctors make a lot of money. And the poor patient often suffers. This is as shown in that movie, the movie that was there. I saw that movie. I mean, I saw parts of that movie. I saw the beginning part, which was this. Now, let us, for argument's sake, assume this is true. How long do you think this pharma company is going to last? Someday, right? It's just a question of time. Say, okay, but by that time they made millions. Yes, not only will they be sued for those millions, they will have denied themselves the bliss of growth. Now, if I say that, you'll say, so what big deal? They've gone to Hawaii and they're having a good time. This is where Vedanta fails. You know why this knowledge cannot be taught? Because until you have experienced a higher grade of happiness, how is anyone to tell you that whatever you are enjoying is all sorrow? How can you tell anyone that? How can you tell the child that until you know what teenage joys are, the moment you know teenage joys, this will seem stupid to you? How can you tell a child? And this is why the world suffers, because it can't answer that question. So now for us, who are at least willing to listen, should we ourselves not appreciate that we in our lives have experienced better joys and worse joys? We've experienced, right? There's some times in your life where you feel this was a very subtle joy that you enjoyed. Every one of us will have that as a human experience. Now the question is, can we investigate how those higher joys took place? And can we have more of those? The more you tune into a subtler joy, the more you begin to see what Vedanta is talking about. You have to tune into that joy yourself, otherwise it all seems very theoretical. And so contentment and gratitude go together. Service and gratitude go together. Together they give you a contentment far beyond what can be experienced by any kind of selfish or personal pleasure. I'm just summarizing in one line. Okay, is that clear so far? Okay. Then homeless. Aniketa. Thank you. Aniketa means homeless. Literally translated means homeless. Means you can possess everything. You can have any number of homes you would like to have. No problem as far as that goes. But you have no sense of possessiveness towards those possessions. If you are negligent towards possessions, you don't care about them. You throw your things around, you have houses, and you people have so many flats, they've never gone to that flat. And I don't think you can go to that flat because I don't know what condition that thing must be in now. And they've got it stuffed with furniture. So they'll do some sort of transactions and they'll, I don't know what they do. There's so many things which they don't look after. This is called tamas. Whatever I have, should I not look after it properly? If I have a cupboard, should I not look after it? If I have a home, should I not look after it? Some people keep their homes in such a condition that Bhagwan bachaye. How can you live over there? Should it not be clean, organized? If you have investments, should they not be taken care of? Do whatever your yearly review or whatever it is, however you take care of it. People possess things which are in the mala of their house and they have no idea what is there. All this is called
Tamas.
In God. All this is called tamas. You're negligent towards the things you possess. You're rude to your family just because they don't say anything to you or they don't hold it. You just say whatever you feel like to them. So, in negligent towards what you have. This is called tamas. when you are very, very particular, very, very careful about everything that you possess, and this is all mine, don't you come anywhere close to it. This is called Rajas. Sattva is mentally, you are like the tamasic person, but physically you are functioning like the Rajasic person. Means you're taking care of everything beautifully, but you're not mentally caught up in it. Now, don't make it the other way around, because you make it the other way around with tamas and rajas. So between tamas and rajas lies a mentally no care, physically perfect. Okay, clear, homeless. Then steady mind. Steady-minded is an impossible thing because the mind by its very nature is fickle. It cannot stay in one thing. If you come to Vedanta, how many people are happy to read one book? If they come to Vedanta, they want to read Vedanta Treaty, they want to read Bhagavad Gita, they want to read Shankaracharya, and Shankaracharya, of course, the whole library, and then this book, and that book, and that book, and what does this person say, what does that person say? Kya lena dena? Who said what? Doesn't even matter. If I have to learn something, one book is sufficient. If you read for your whole life only Vedanta treatises, it's more than sufficient. Don't need any other book. No, not Vedanta treatises. Okay, chalo, Bhagavad Gita. You don't need any other book. You know, people, they know that, I engage in thoughts. I like the concept of thoughts. And so people keep giving me books, as you can see behind me. I don't buy books. Most of these are gifted books. Very rarely I have bought one. Oh, well, very rarely in the last so many years. So people give me gifts thinking that what to give me, it's difficult. No, that also appreciate. What are they going to give me? So sometimes they give me books. And so they give me books, especially books which they think are going to contradict what I'm saying. So somebody once gave me this book called Blink. Can you see it? It's behind me. And I read the book, or at least I read most of the book. And now recently somebody has given Ikigai. And I read these books. It's not that I don't read them. But frankly, I really don't see what they're saying beyond Vedanta. I just can't see it. This whole book, Blink, is written such a thick book on it. This whole thing is said in Vedanta in one line. Digested knowledge gives you instant answers. And that's what he's saying. So why such a big book on it? Ikigai, what is Ikigai saying? Find your Swadharma. Of course, he likes to add that find something that people are willing to pay you for also. Okay, chalo, can add that point also. But basically, what is it? Long and short of it, it boils down to the same basic principle. So instead of reading 10,000 books, it's better to read one book, a comprehensive book, and study it comprehensively so that you know what on earth it's talking about. Otherwise, you pick up one idea here, one idea there, push the stuff. You know Vedanta, you know the whole picture. You understand where everything fits in nicely. And you say, yes, okay, it's this concept from there. Tick. Of course, I'm not saying the books are useless. They're useful sometimes because they explain a lot more than Vedanta does. So therefore, sometimes it helps us in reflection. I'm not saying don't read it, but getting an overall picture is always more useful. But the reason people read these books is because
The mind is going here and there. The mind needs more stimulus.
pretty good. I never expected anyone was following the flow of thought. I hope you all remember the point, right? The point is the mind is fickle. It'll get bored with one thing. One teacher, one book. It's all so boring. So many teachers. Every time you go to a different teacher, they'll tell you a different story. They'll tell you a different joke. So that's all very entertaining. Even if you come to Vedanta, mind is not stable. Not stay there. And then people will say, oh no, I'm listening to everybody, but it's all around Vedanta. Now who's going to explain to them that this is the fickle mind? Because their time and energy, they are convinced I am doing Vedanta. So the fickle mind is the nature. It's the nature of the mind. Vedanta is the control of the mind. So it even if you come there, it's so tough. What do you say? Now the bhakta, according to Krishna, has a stable mind. How is it possible for his mind to be stable? By definition, mind is not stable. So how did his mind become stable? The mind
loves the Lord.
fell in love. Yes. When the mind is in love with something, for the period it is in love with that thing, it stays stable. Just stays there. It loves it.
When in love, don't we say the mind is restless and distracted?
When in love, the mind is restless and who said this, by the way?
Me, Gita.
Okay, sure, there you are. Why was I not seeing? Normally when, I don't know, can't explain this IT business. Okay, so the mind in love is not restless at all. Now see two lovers, okay? They are sitting on that seashore. You're in Mumbai, aren't you? You're in Mumbai, no?
Yeah, no, now I'm in Pune. Yeah.
You're in
Yes,
Pune.
ma'am. Yes.
Okay, so you were in Mumbai. Remember, you go to Worli Sea Face?
Yes.
Yeah, or wherever. All these lovers will sit over there. And they're just sitting over there. Nobody is saying anything. Nothing is happening. But some of them at least. Some of them are doing their own thing, but some of them just sitting over there. They're just sitting. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's doing anything. I say, if you all met, why don't you all talk to each other? No. The satisfaction of love it's just totally silent because now you're satisfied. Like after a good meal, you keep satisfied, you keep quiet, no? Whenever there is satisfaction, there is silence. So the mind is, true lovers don't speak. They're going jabbering. There's too more excitement than love over there. Nothing to say. What is there to say? Well, there was this nice old friend. Remember old friends like bookends sitting on the park bench like bookends. So when there is love, it's silent. So no, we don't say. If there is really love, the mind is still. Problem is we are incapable of love. We are into attachment where the mind is excitable. Deep Raj, in love, the world collapses. Even if there's a bomb blast in the vicinity, they are least bothered. Deep Raj, this is your age talking. I think. But eventually, I think people do run. Mahesh, technically, should we say devotion to the Lord? Yeah, you can say devotion, you can say love, it's the same thing. Love, when it's towards the higher, is devotion. So it is love. So the bhakta just loves the Lord. Just loves the Lord. And because he loves the Lord, he's stuck there. What makes him so stuck is it is the most satisfying thing that he has ever experienced. And that is the danger as well. If you learn to love the Lord, you don't know what is better satisfaction. And the danger there is you get so stuck that you need a guru to come and break that attachment or that break that love to the Lord, as happened in the case of Sri Ramakrishna. But most bhaktas are not so fortunate, and they don't have anyone to break it, so then they will go along. They stay there. You should read Ramatirtha's analysis of that. They just stay there. So how does the bhakta become steady? How does the bhakta's mind become steady? Because it is in love. Wherever you are in love, the mind will go steady and quiet. Same with Ekalavya. Ekalavya is not to the Lord. His dedication was to archery. So he was steady because of his dedication to that field. So in principle, yes, that whatever you are, you have love for, you'll stay there. That is why even when you're getting married, Deepraj, let me tell you, you as a Vedantan will start doing all this analysis, whether I should marry this girl, not marry this girl, will she be suitable for my goal, will she not be suitable for my goal? All this analysis you will do. But the mind's role cannot be denied. Because if you do all this analysis, then 5 years later, that analysis may fail you. But if you love the person you marry, then the love sometimes, when that person irritates the hell out of you, the love can keep you dedicated there. So very important that you do the analysis and also have that feeling. Otherwise, some people make the mistake of making it too intellectual, and then there's nothing to sustain them. All the bachelors that I can see. Do we have a very high proportion of bachelors in this class? I'm seeing too many bachelors in front of me right now. I mean, at least their names. So it is very important that the mind likes what you're doing, even in terms of work. And when it is in terms of work, we call it
Karma.
Swadharma.
Very good. Thank you. We call it Swadharma. Even your work, you have to enter what you like. In relationship, you have to enter what you like. That doesn't mean you discard the intellect, please. It doesn't mean it is instead of the analysis. It means it is along with the analysis. Okay, so that's it for today. We'll do the next verse next time, and we will do the summary of chapter 12 next time. Is that fine?